Well, thanks for tuning into the Market Wrap. I'm Niraj Shah with Nickey Mirchandani, and it's turned out to be an interesting day of trade simply because it's banks which has led the rally once again. We were looking at a lot of other pockets and the possibilities thereof, and while some of them participated, you have to admit that it's financials which are top draw. Look at that. The Nifty is up 1.3%, but look at the financials. Bajaj Finance, IndusInd Bank, FinServ, HDFC, SBI, ICICI Bank. HDFC Bank is up another 4%, and this is not from the bottom. HDFC Bank was at record highs and it continues to move up higher. This rally in financials, I must say, has been missed by most people. There's also a Larsen and Toubro which was participating in the session today, and Gale, which quotes numbers which actually, to be honest, missed a little bit of estimates, but went up about 4%. What didn't do well? IT, FMCG, Pharma. So you look at the losers, Cipla down 6%. The day of the results, it's cracked 3 and another 6% today. Then TechM, HCL Tech, TVs, Nestle. I mean, just look at the top 10 losers, and it's all IT, pharma, and FMCG, with Nestle being the sole FMCG representative, but nevertheless. That was the long and short, really, of the index today. Nickey, good evening. What stood out on the index today for you?
Good evening. I have picked up ITC. Clearly, it was a day out for financials, but I just thought of going a little different because, defensive like, other defensives like something like an IT and pharma did not do well. But FMCG stock, ITC did extremely well in trade today. It rallied surprisingly, and the unlocked trade at this point of time with the whole vaccine hopes coming into play, that's positive for hotel and tobacco. Out of home consumption mainly is going to be the theme, and there is going to be a strong focus coming on out on the FMC revenue and EBIT as reported in Q2. Valuations any which ways have always been supportive for ITC. Back then, if you remember, the results of more or less that the company reported for Q2 has been better than expected when it comes to the cigarette business, and as in when the performance of the hotel business, that was subdued. So now with the trend catching up, and as and when there are hopes like around the corner where economy probably could open up more with the vaccine, now looks like a thing which is about to happen. But then that of course is going to be euphoric, and apart from that, we also saw some travel stocks doing well. Financials of course did well, on back of which you've seen this whole encouraging or the optimism trend coming in for these counters. But then, Niraj, what are you picking up?
I mean, the broader end of the spectrum, again, I think the similar trend played out, right? You had pharma correcting, you had FMCG correcting, and that's largely the trend. So we'll talk about individuals, but first, just quickly, that MOV function on the Bloomberg terminal to show you the market breadth. Because even Stevens maybe slightly in favor of the decliners today. Look at the list of losers, and Solara, Ipca, Thyrocare tell you that pharma corrected. Then Larsen and Toubro Infotech correcting tells you that IT had a bit of a soft spot too. And then if you continue down that list, Strides Pharma, Lupin, Cadilla, Dr. Lahal, essentially pharma has just gone completely out of favor. Even yesterday's big gainer, Didi's Lab, corrected. On the flip side, what did well was this unlocked trade that Nickey was talking about. And you look at that across the board, be it Interglobe, be it Indian Hotels. I mean, that's essentially Phoenix Mills, that's essentially the trend that played out. Nickey, I won't be surprised if you're choosing some of these unlocked names as being the things that stood out.
Yeah, I'm not going to be talking about names which are going to be surprising me at this point of time. Of course, Indian Hotels, Lemon Tree, and EIH are topping my list right now because of the reports of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine, which has offered hope. At this point of time, Bloomberg reports suggest that it can prevent around 90% of COVID-19 cases as per the trial which has taken place. So clearly, some amount of optimism auguring well for those hotel stocks out there. But as you just mentioned, we've seen a sharp amount of correction coming in on the pharma post the smart rally that we've seen over the couple of days. But what also has seen some amount of reaction is the result-based development for Symphony, where the profitability of the company at the reported was around 28 crores compared to 186 crore in the corresponding quarter. Back of which you've seen some amount of profit booking coming in for this one, 2.5%, 3% kind of hit coming in on this counter. On the flip side, you have something like Alkaline Mines, which is rather done well in trade. We are also looking at Motherson Sumi because we've seen a smart rally coming in with that counter, 4.8% uptick there. There was an investor day conference where the management at this point of time highlighted that post the restructuring, 10 incubated businesses and their growth potential, how will the overall scenario look like? Because they make up around 85% of revenue and 90% of EBITDA. So clearly some amount of optimism and the revenue and the operational guidance coming in on the investor day for this counter, which has done extremely well in trade. But then Niraj, I'm going to quickly come back to you and ask you about what are you really eyeing apart from the Bihar election result? Any kind of results that you're eyeing at this point of time?
No, Nickey, I don't think the market will really pay too much of heed to that. I think we are firmly in the midst of what's happening across the world, and therefore the globe remains probably the bigger draw for our markets. Yeah, I mean, some corporate numbers would come out. I mean, I'm guessing that we're watching out in large part what would happen during the course of the week to some of the other nifty names that come out. We are at the fag end of the result season as well, so you've got to keep in mind. But ahead of Diwali, I think global markets will probably hold center stage. And very quickly, Nikki, before we wrap up, how are they doing?
Well, European markets, the modest rally continue, or the enthusiasm after the vaccine moves continue there. But then, if you look at the US stock futures, it's mixed picture of sorts. As we were just talking about some time back, Nasdaq at this point of time is indicating a negative start, and Dow Jones on the other hand is positive. So pretty mixed cues coming on that counter. You have a bunch of positive corporate earnings coming around. Nevertheless, there is some amount of optimism which is still prevailing in the global market, but it remains to be seen how the trade shapes up overnight. We probably could be picking up cues there on, but that's that in terms of market wrap. Stay tuned into BloombergQuint for more.